Good afternoon, everybody. We'll continue our NASCAR media availabilities here with Carl Edwards, the driver of the number 99 Fastenal Ford. Carl, thanks for coming in. Tell us a little bit about the practice and what you're feeling and seeing on the track out there.
Our practice did not go well for us. It was not good, so we've got some work to do. We didn't do any race trim, so there's still hope for a race trim, but qualifying trim was not good. But just like last week, we're not going to quit. We're just going to go give 100%, and hopefully we can find something by this evening. Jimmy and the guys are working really hard on it.
Thanks, Carl. Questions for Mr. Edwards? We'll start with Wolfgang.
Mr. Edwards.
Wolfgang from Germany, Ranchman President. Hi, Carl. Next year you have a new team, a new car. Personal question for you, or maybe a technical question. Do you think the Toyota Camry has a little bit advantage over the Ford in some areas? And if so, maybe you can specify that?
I appreciate you asking a question, but really, I mean, I'm focused 100% on this year, and I want to get a win here for Ford and a win next week for Ford, and I'll worry about all that later. Thanks, Wolfgang.
We'll go with Dave, and then Claire B., and then Lewis.
Dave Coleman, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. This practice notwithstanding, I mean, Jimmy Fennig's got a ton of respect from you and pretty much everybody else in the garage. In the time that you worked with him, can you kind of give some insight onto what makes him tick and what makes him, be able to do this for 40 years?
Jimmy somehow finds more time in the day, more ability to, he finds a way to work harder than almost anybody I've ever met. I've been around some really hardworking people: Jimmy Finnick, Jack Roush, Mike Mittler. I mean, these guys are unbelievable. And to me, Jimmy is he's an example of what you can do with hard work. He cares as much or more about winning than anyone I've ever been around. So to me, Jimmy's been he's been a huge positive influence on me and my driving, and he's a friend. I mean, like last week, it was a good example. We were 2 laps down. He never lost his cool. He knows what to do, when to do it, and he never quits.
Claire B.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. You said practice did not go well for us. Can you put that into a perspective? Everybody's tweeting now, practice did not go well. Is it something you feel like you can dig yourselves out of, or is it really bad?
So the balance wasn't right in the car, and it's pretty far off. And so, yeah, it was... when I say it didn't go well, I'm pretty optimistic in general, but the biggest problem is when it doesn't go well, you walk back in the hauler and your teammates are the exact same speed. It becomes really tough because you don't have something you can just go. There's no speed that's easily no low-hanging fruit left. I mean, you have to go come up with a whole new plan, and that's what I mean when I say it didn't go well. There's no easy solution, and so we're going to have to roll the dice. We're going to have to make something happen. That's tough to do.
Lewis Franco, Reuters. Carl, after last week's incidents post-race, could you weigh popularity versus a championship? Would you give up popularity in the garage?
I've never even considered those things comparing those things. I'm here to win championship. So I will say one thing about last week. I mean, obviously I don't know all the details, but it seems like a lot of people have assumed that I have some sort of issue with Brad, and I do not. Our issue was real simple. I felt like he ran into me a lot, and now he doesn't. And so I mean, it was that simple. And so, and I think he handled everything really well last week, and I'm proud to have him as a Ford teammate. So, I just this will make that real clear. I have no ongoing beef with Brad.
Stan
Creekmore with Competition Plus. The history of this car, have you all used this car somewhere else? Had similar problems with this car? Is it a new car?
No, what happens is that okay, we ran really well. We've run well here the last couple of years, and so we came with a little bit of hope that we could use some of what we learned. It looks like other people have picked up some things, and so yeah, I don't think it's the car's fault. I mean, I think it's just, without going into too much detail, it's just a combination. Somehow we don't have the right combination with springs, bars, shocks, weights, tire pressures, all that. But it's there. I mean, we can do it, and I wouldn't count us out. I mean, Jimmy and I have done I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying I'm doing a little self-talk here, guys. I think we can do this. We just have. I mean, I love this racetrack. This is one of the greatest racetracks we go to. It's fun, and we just have to put it together. We have to get the right combination.
Any final questions for Mr. Edwards? Bob Pockras and then Reed.
Bob Pockras, Sporting News. How big of a hole do you feel like you're in right now in trying to get into the next round?
We were looking for shovels to. No, we. I don't know if. You just can't tell. I mean, the track's going to change a little bit. I think tonight the track is definitely going to be different. This afternoon, later, we're gonna try to forecast what that's going to be like with the balance. But really, I mean, honestly, we're slow right now. So yeah, we're not. This is not what we want. But this is nothing we haven't dealt with before. We just have to go do the work.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. So tomorrow during practices, do you simply go out and start trying? It makes practice difficult, obviously.
Yeah, tomorrow will be. We talked about that too. We can't let today affect tomorrow because we didn't do any race trim practice. Tomorrow will be a different day, and it's because qualifying is a different animal, and we'll just go start with our race trim package. We'll work through our problems. We've got 2 practice sessions, and so that. We've qualified poorly here before and still done very well in the race. And I'm not saying we will qualify poorly, but that's not going to define our race, I don't think. So that's what we're hoping.
All right, any other questions? Wrap it up with Wolfgang.
Carl, when you said you had balance problems, you race here twice a year. In principle, you can't change the car when you raced here earlier. Also, maybe the weather was different.
I'm sorry, the accident and the cars, I can't. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not. Now I know what people thought when I was in Germany. No, so I'm sorry. What are you asking me?
Yeah, you race here twice a year, early in the year and now. When you said you have balance problems right now, in principle, you can't set the car up like it early in the year.
Okay, so that's a great question, and that was one of our. I don't want to get into too many of our technical issues. Although if people, maybe everybody should put our setup in, it'd be better for us, but. You could, but what happens is that everyone comes to the next race, and let's say the field's separated by 0.3 of a second. It's like you come the next time, and everybody's picked up a couple of tenths. So even if you were the fastest car the first time, if you don't change anything, you're going to struggle. So there is constant innovation, constant development, and past success does not mean anything. After a certain amount of time passes, just because this garage, all those engineers and all the fabricators and everyone, they're constantly making the cars better.
Carl, thanks for coming in. Good luck in qualifying.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.